Hey everyone, I'm Almar of almarsguides.com, and in this video here I'm going to share with you all of my tips and tricks for farming iron. And this is meant to be an advanced tips and tricks video. This is something basically everything that I've learned after like 40 plus hours of farming iron. So right here is my swamp treehouse, which I make in almost every swamp that I go to. And I have a workbench in here for repairing my hoe and anything else. And I also have my forge in here for repairing my anvil. Alternatively, you can have a forge close to the portal's exit, so you can just go back to town, repair it, and then come here again. But I like putting a forge in the treehouse too, and you have to upgrade it once. So I usually bring 2 bronze with me for the anvils. And basically, in order to make a forge, you just got to come here with 6 copper and 2 bronze for the upgrade, the anvils. You can get the coal from the Surtlings here, you can get the stone from around here, and you can get the wood from around here too, so you don't need to bring that stuff if you don't want to. So the only enemy that will attack you in the treehouse is wraiths, and they usually only spawn at night, so that's all you have to worry about. And they won't usually destroy the building either, so you don't have to really worry all that much about that. Apparently there's a swamp jogger stuck in the rocks, so we'll have to avoid him. One of the tips I can give you when exploring the swamp is to make paths for yourself like this. So you bring your hoe with you. Your hoe, you don't leave home without your hoe. And you can make these paths through the swamp, which will allow you to avoid the most annoying mechanics of the swamp, this water. And it will also allow you to box off the leeches in their own little habitats where they can't really get to you. So like right here, for example, we're just going to create a path across the water so we don't have to swim at all, and so we don't really get wet. It's raining right now, so we're getting wet anyway, but we can do this to avoid much of the horrible mechanics of the swamp. Oh no, I'm out of arrows. It's unfortunate. Another tip I can give you is to fully explore the swamp and open up all of the crypts. So long as you're marking the crypts on your map and you X them out when you finish them, you're good. You don't have to worry. But it's helpful to fully explore the swamp first, mark all the crypts on your map, and then go through the crypts one by one. And open the crypt doors too, so you don't have to always lug around a swamp key. And the crypts are also nice if you like are currently being pursued by a lot of enemies. You can just duck into them. So it's good to have them open for that reason. And right now I'm collecting some stones because there's another trick I would like to show you. I think we only need 5 stones in all, so we're 1 short. It's worth mentioning too that the leeches are completely unable to leave the water. So keep that in mind for farming them. It makes it a lot easier to, if you're specifically after blood bags, you can go to the outskirts of the swamp and farm blood bags that way, because the leeches will spawn and be able to get to you much more easily in if you're in the ocean. Another trick I can show you is how to get rid of these annoying Surtlings that spawn. So notice how their spawn is actually kind of already halfway underwater. What we're going to do is put it all the way underwater. We want the fire. I don't think you can actually put the fire out by putting it underwater, because you can see right now the fire is already basically in water. But what you want to do is you want to make the area around the fire just slightly underwater, like it is right now. See how it's basically all wet around this area? This will mean that the Surtlings have nowhere to go when they spawn except for in the water. So they'll spawn in the water, they'll start taking damage, and they'll die immediately. And this will allow you to basically get unlimited amounts of coal, Surtling cores, and Surtling trophies, which are nice like trophies. Lots of turnip seeds all over the place. And it also will allow you to not be bothered by the Surtlings either, which is a big deal, because the Surtlings can be kind of annoying when you're farming the swamp and trying to get places. So these are just little tips to make your swamp safer. It's also worth mentioning, if you want to make it really, really safe, you can build a bunch of workbenches in the trees. Basically just make a few stairs, and then get up into the tree, build a workbench, and then come back down to the ground. And you just space your workbenches out throughout the swamp, and then you'll make your swamp insanely safe. I like to do that when I find a good swamp, which this swamp is actually a good swamp, but I want to farm leeches while I'm here as well. Some mushrooms too, which are nice. They're hard to find, so I like picking them up when I see them. There's another crypt over there, so we're going to mark this crypt, and then we're going to go into it, and I'm going to show you a few more tips and tricks, and then we're going to end the farming run, and I'll show you the biggest, bestest tip and trick of them all for how to get iron back to your base instantly. No boat rides, none of that nonsense. You can just get the iron back to your base basically by teleporting it. And I say basically because not entirely, but you'll see. Okay, so another tip and trick. You can build a campfire right inside of here to get the rested buff and to also become unwet. So I knew you were gonna be in here. Clear out the entrance of your crypt when you do this too. I think another blob's gonna be coming my direction. Might have to defend this position. Nope, but there we go. Now we got our rested buff. Really, really handy to keep your rested buff with you at all times when farming. Which is no going back to town whatsoever. All you need is just basically you can put a campfire inside of every crypt. I actually recommend destroying the campfires on your way out, though. It'll also give you a good idea to let you know if you've been to that crypt before and finished it. Usually when I have a campfire at the start of the crypt, it means I'm still working on the crypt, and if I don't have a campfire there, it usually means the crypt is done. Or it means I've opened it and haven't even started it yet. That's why it's important to keep track on your map of what crypts you've done and what crypts you have not done. It's also typically advisable to bring a potion mead with, or a poison mead with you too. Since this is going to be a short video, I don't have any with me. I'm not doing an actual farming run right now. There you are, Mr. Jogger. Knew one of you was going to be in here. Dagnabbit, nothing good. Usually those sometimes have a bunch of scrap iron in it. Was hoping to get a bunch. So, let's pretend that my inventory is full with iron and we're doing a run back to town. Let's actually make this run easier for us. See how we made like a little walkway here? So now future runs we don't have to go through the water. And if it isn't raining, then you won't get wet by running across that walkway. And something else that I have not mentioned is you should always build a, well, I did mention the outpost and the fact that you should always build an outpost when you're in the swamp, but it's worth mentioning that you should have two, see my circling trap is working? They spawn and instantly die. Like that. You should have two worlds when playing Valheim. You should farm on one world, and you should have another world that is your home, essentially. And the reason for this is for the trick that we're going to be doing coming up right here. Let me pick up these bone chips because they won't depop since they're close enough to my workbenches. So here's how to get up there. As you can see, enemies obviously can't do this jumping, so they're not going to be able to get up. These extra steps there and over there were so I could build it. So now we're back home. We're going to drop off this stuff we won't take with us until it gets up high stacks. We want quite a bit before we bother bringing that stuff home. We're going to bring this home right now with us, the iron. So we've got us a full inventory of iron. We can't take it through that portal, but we still want to take it back to our base. So what do? We log out, just like this. Now this seed, the one that I'm on right now, is a different seed than my main base. So that's worth mentioning. And we go to my home world right here, Rivervale, which I've uniquely named it from EverQuest. And we're basically going to drop off the iron just like that. And then we don't have to take it home with us because we took it home by switching worlds. Pretty damn handy. And just like that, the iron is home. We brought it home. Now, there's one more thing I would like to show you, and that is choosing a world. So, this is the world that we were just in, and my base is over here in this swamp. And I specifically chose this swamp because of how many crypts it has in it. And every single world in this game is going to have a swamp like this. Like, this is my hometown of Rivervale. You can see this huge swamp right here with tons of crypts in it. And my base, I think my home base right now in Rivervale is, so there's the spawn. My main base is like right here, so it's a little bit north of the crypt. And then we have another, this is my other world, Asheron, for Asheron's Call. We have a huge swamp right there. And if you take a look at the rest of the world, there's a few more good swamps, like swamp there, big swamp here, quite a few with a bunch of crypts. And to show you the fact that all of these worlds are like this, there you go, just random letters, we just spammed shit, and we're gonna click go. It'll take a few seconds to load because it's a little slow, but now let's switch it to biomes only so we can see, and we're going to do not camps, we're going to do tomes and crypts. So this is just complete random spam that I did of characters. And we're going to basically look down here in the bottom right. I'm pretty sure where my mouse is right now. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the... Ooh, there's another swamp right there in the bottom left too. This website here though, you can see it in the toolbar, top left, Valheim-map.world. This website is going to be invaluable for you finding a world of your own that you can farm crypts on. I recommend scouting beforehand before you go to a swamp, make your base and stuff like that, because you want to make sure that it's going to actually be worthwhile for you to farm there. So usually I check this, like this right here, this is the swamp that I would go to, down here, bottom left. The bottom right swamp ain't too bad either, right here. Actually, this whole entire world is kind of good. You got massive swamps. That swamp's nice too. This swamp up here is nice. This swamp all the way up north is super nice too. So this is essentially how it works. You just type in random words until you find a world that you want to farm with a good, healthy swamp, and then you go to that swamp, make a little base, make a portal so you can get back to, well, actually what I do is when I first log in a new world, I'll make basically a nexus, what I like to call it, by the spawn point, and then I will make my base elsewhere in that world. And then I will, like, here's all my portals. I'll show you my nexus real fast. As you can see, there was a lot of iron that went into making this base. nexus right here. And this is just a tad bit north of where I spawn. So right here, my little portal nexus. I will never use all of these portals most likely, but it's right next to the spawn point. Right there is the spawn. And this is essentially 4 new characters. Well, rather, whenever I switched to this world, I just made a nexus and then explored, made my home base, and then I used this world as my basically drop-off world. In a manner of speaking, this is going to be my new home world, and I'm going to use the other 2 worlds for farming, but that's really all you need to know as far as farming iron goes. That's all the tips and tricks that I have for farming iron as quickly and efficiently as possible. Hopefully this video helped some of you guys out, and I will catch you guys around the next video. Peace.